My girlfriend said she loved me for who I was, so I showed her who I really was. She used to say I was too nice for this world. Funny thing is, I used to believe her. We met in Seattle, Capitol Hill, on a rainy Tuesday outside a thrift bookstore. She had a copy of Catcher in the Rye in her hand, and I made a dumb joke about how every emotionally unavailable person I knew swore that book changed their life. She laughed. I didn't think much of it then. But within weeks, we were tangled in the kind of whirlwind romance that writers swear only happens once. Her name was Lauren Hayes. Bright, beautiful, magnetic. People fell in love with her without even realizing it. She liked to tell me she wasn't good at relationships, which, looking back, was probably the only truth she ever told me. Still, I gave her everything. My time, my secrets, my trust. She said she loved that I was genuine, gentle, and different from the others. I believed that too. I was patient when she canceled dates last minute. I was understanding when she needed space. I even stayed quiet when I caught her lying about small things, texts from a cousin that read more like poetry than family talk. But I started seeing cracks. Her phone never left her hand. She would leave the room to take calls and come back like nothing happened. And those work weekends started happening way too often. It wasn't hard to piece things together. She was seeing someone else. Maybe more than one. Still, I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I went quiet. I started observing more than reacting. I smiled when she made up lies, nodded when she offered excuses. All the while, I was building something. A version of me that didn't flinch, that didn't beg, that didn't chase. She once told me, "I love you for who you are. You're not like the others. You're real." She had no idea what real meant. So I tested something. I pretended not to notice the other man. The older guy who drove the charcoal Range Rover and dropped her off 2 blocks away. She thought she was clever. I let her believe it. I'd even leave flowers on her porch the same day she came back from their conference retreats. She didn't suspect anything. She thought I was weak. Safe. But I was documenting everything. The private investigator I hired sent me photos, messages, hotel logs. Every lie had a receipt. I kept it all in a folder labeled Karma. Why didn't I walk away, you ask? Simple. She didn't break my heart. She disrespected my mind. She made me feel like my kindness was a flaw. Like being good meant being disposable. So I started preparing her gift. A gift of truth, wrapped in consequences. And to make it believable, I made sure she never saw it coming. I upgraded my life, quietly. New job, higher salary, bought a condo in Belltown. Stopped posting on socials. I was vanishing in plain sight. And during all that, I kept showing up with her favorite takeout and pretending not to notice the scent of cologne that wasn't mine. She thought she was playing me. But I wasn't the nice guy anymore. I was the guy who was writing the final chapter of her story. And it began the night she told me she was ready to take things to the next level. She smiled across the candlelit table, fingers laced in mine, wearing that crimson lipstick she always reserved for special nights. "I love you," she whispered. "I really do." I smiled back and said, "I know." Because the man she thought she loved, the pushover, the softie, he didn't exist anymore. Only the real me remained. And she was about to meet him. Lauren moved in 2 weeks after that candlelit dinner. Her suitcase rolled over the threshold of my condo like she was gliding into a new chapter of her life. A chapter she thought she authored. She kissed me on the cheek, dropped her bags, and smiled like a cat who just found the warmest spot in the house. "You're really something, you know that?" she said. "Most guys wouldn't wait around like you did. But you're different." She used that word again. Different. As if I was a novelty. As if I was too naive to see through the affection sown with manipulation. But I wasn't waiting around. I was watching. I let her decorate the place. Paint her favorite dusty rose accents across my dark grays. I let her buy candles that smelled like lies and linen. And I let her play her playlist that always reminded me of someone else. She had no idea that the walls she now lived within were listening. 2 weeks before she moved in, I had the condo wired with discrete audio triggers, motion capture cams, and a remote access system that fed directly into my secure drive. It wasn't obsession. It was insurance. And evidence. Because if there was one thing I knew about Lauren, it was that her truth came in whispers, not declarations. I started noticing her habits again. Late night, girl chats, in the guest room with the door locked. Urgent phone calls on the balcony, barefoot, wine glass trembling in hand. The worst was when she looked me in the eye and said she was just tired after a long day, when I knew she'd been with him. Him, Daniel Alden, 52, married, CEO of the design firm she consulted for. It wasn't hard to track him. My investigator fed me every detail, photos of them at an Airbnb on the Oregon coast, audio of their hotel conversations in Denver, even Venmo payments masked as consulting bonus. Lauren wasn't in love. She was investing. She thought she was gambling safely, betting small emotions on different men to maximize returns. What she didn't realize was, one of those men stopped playing her game weeks ago. He started rewriting the rules. One afternoon, I left my laptop open, accidentally on purpose. An audio file played faintly, her voice, intimate, recorded just 2 days prior. She froze mid-step when she heard it, eyes darting to the screen. "You spying on me?" she asked. "No," I said calmly. "Just archiving." She didn't say anything. She just stared, like the house she thought was hers suddenly turned hostile. The shadows weren't safe anymore. That night, she was quiet. She cooked dinner. She cuddled closer. She whispered "I love you" more than once. She knew something had shifted. She just didn't know how much. Because the real plan wasn't to confront her. It was to expose her. To him. To his wife. To her friends. To every one of those curated social media followers who thought she was some wellness-loving, trauma-healing, book-quoting empath. I scheduled a package to be delivered that weekend, to Daniel's mansion in Bellevue. Inside, a USB drive with files, transcripts, timestamps, hotel receipts, screenshots, and a personal letter signed. "You deserve to know who she really is." I didn't sign my name. He'd figure it out. 2 days later, Lauren got a call during brunch. Her face went pale. She stepped outside, hands shaking. She came back with the fakest smile I've ever seen and said, "I have to go. Something came up at work." She didn't even take her hand back. I watched from the window as she tried calling him 5, 6, 7 times, each one going unanswered. That night, she returned. Drunk, angry, shattered. "He ended everything," she slurred. "He said his wife found out. He said someone sent her." She stopped. She looked at me. Something in her eyes clicked. "You," she whispered. I didn't respond. She stood there, breathing hard. "You said you loved me for real. You were different." I smiled and finally said it. "I am different. I meant it. That's why I let you meet the real me." Lauren didn't cry. She didn't scream, didn't beg. She just stood in the doorway, staring at me like she had never seen me before. And to be fair, she hadn't. Not really. She had only known the version of me I let her see, the quiet, patient, forgiving man who believed that love could fix broken things. Now, she was seeing the man who accepted that sometimes the best fix is to let it shatter. The silence between us that night was loud. She didn't ask for explanations. I didn't offer any. She knew, and I knew she knew. The next morning, she was gone. No note. No goodbye. But she made one mistake. She left her phone on the kitchen counter. I don't know if it was intentional, a final jab, or an oversight. But I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. Everything I needed was already in motion. See, the thing about people like Lauren is, they build their world like a house of mirrors. Carefully placed reflections, angles that always flatter, hiding what's real just out of frame. All I had to do was tilt one mirror. And it collapsed. By Monday, screenshots and voice memos were circulating in every social circle she cared about. The group chats that used to praise her emotional intelligence were now tearing her apart with words like manipulative, predatory, and heartless. The yoga brand she collaborated with dropped her overnight. The book club she led quietly disbanded. Even her closest friend, Mia, the one who once told me, "Lauren has a beautiful soul under all that chaos," sent me a one-word DM, "Thank you." But I wasn't done. The last card I played was the podcast. It was anonymous, of course. I shared my story, our story, in a series titled The Empath Trap. I changed names, blurred locations, but the truth was intact. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about warning others. About showing people like me, the quiet ones, the forgivers, that being kind doesn't mean being blind. The series went viral. Listeners connected with it. Victims, survivors, people who had been used under the guise of healing relationships. I got emails, messages, invitations to speak. Suddenly, I had a platform I never asked for, built from the ruins of what she thought would be my downfall. And Lauren? Well, she tried to fight back. She made a TikTok video 2 weeks later. Tear-streaked, dramatic lighting, shaky voice. She painted herself as a victim, claimed she was emotionally manipulated by someone who was deeply insecure and invading her privacy. But the internet doesn't forget. Comments flooded in with proof. Clips, quotes, screenshots. She deleted the video, deleted her account. Last I heard, she moved back to Arizona to live with her sister. She works part-time at a boutique and avoids cameras now. Word is, she's still telling people she was betrayed by a narcissist. Classic projection. Do I feel bad? No, because she didn't fall because of me. She fell because of the lies she stacked like cards, hoping they'd never be tested by wind. And me? I'm good. Better, actually. Not because I exposed her, but because I reclaimed something she tried to steal, my sense of self-worth. My voice. She said she loved me for who I was. And when I finally showed her, She ran. Because what she really loved was the version of me she could control, not the man who remembered exactly who he was, and made sure the world remembered her for who she really was, too. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.